Okay, fine. So having said that, let me quickly get into the topic. Okay. So what I thought was, instead of starting with Python directly, I thought let me give you some. How many of you are new to programming? Can you just say yes, no, whatever? How many of you are new to programming? Okay, completely
New
new.
to program.
New to programming? Yeah. Who is that?
Sandeep.
Sandeep is new to programming. Okay, so how many are? Can you just say me, or something? Okay, I don't. If you're already, you have some idea about programming, it's okay. I just want to know how many are new to programming. Okay, so that yeah, okay, no problem. So that is the reason I knew that every batch will have few people, few students who are actually new to programming. So I thought let me. Make things comfortable for them. I thought let me actually start from the very scratch. Okay, so I thought today let me give some basic terminologies about programming, and let me make you comfortable about programming and all that. Yeah, there would be a lot of question and answer session today. Okay, so if you have an idea about the questions that I ask you, make sure you answer me so that we'll have a two-way interaction. Is that okay? Yeah, no problem. I'll teach you Molirai. Okay, is that okay? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so having said that, okay, so first thing is, I know this question is very basic, but still I would like to ask you. Okay, anyone from the class can actually take the liberty to answer this. What do you basically mean by computer science? What do you mean by computer science? Anyone can unmute yourself and you can answer this question. What do you mean by computer science? I don't know if anyone has ever asked you this question earlier, but I would like to ask you, what do you mean by computer science? What exactly do you mean by computer science? Anyone? I want you to answer. Come on, you can just voluntarily answer. It's okay. Instead of me calling up the names, right? So you can. Sudhir, what do you think?
It's the science of computing using machines, basically.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else who would like to take this up?
Yes, studying all about computers and computing.
Yeah, who is this?
Kirtana here.
Kirtana Ganapati.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it, Mark? Can you tell me once again? Come again?
I mean, studying all about computer and computing, or how to talk with computers.
Okay. You remember you got this question might be, if suppose this was asked in your exams, exams, you would have got 2 marks, but I'll give you 0 mark. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So anyone else? I know in your exams and all you can write this. Computer science is all about the science of computer, and you might get 1 mark for that. Okay. So what is computer science? What basically is computer science?
As Kirtana told, it's more about speaking to learning. It's speaking to computers, basically the hardware, software, and
Okay. Not happy with that. Okay. Anyone else? Chaitra, you might be right. Very partially, very 10% might be right. But what exactly do you mean by
Learning is technologies, sir.
Who is that? Just say and huh?
Vishalini, sir.
Who?
Vishalini.
Vishalini. Yeah, Vishalini. Tell me, what is it? Come again. What is it?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me more once again.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. Tell me, Vishalini.
Learning about technologies and its hardware, software, etc.
Okay, I am looking for some answer, something out of the box, but which is out of the box doesn't mean something fancy. Out of the box means a reality. Okay, these are all the things which I commonly get from students actually, but I just want to make sure you guys understand what basically is computer science, and else I'll not be able to proceed further. Okay, you must know what is computer science basically. Okay. So let me not waste your time. I'll tell you what is computer science. Computer science is all about fundamentally about dealing with computational problem solving. I call it as computational. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see what I'm writing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is it? Computational problem solving. Okay, and whenever I ask this question, many people say dealing with hardware, talking to hardware and computer and software, hardware and software, talking together and all that. But what I feel is computer science is all about computational problem solving. Okay, and when I say this word, a very nice looking word called as 3 words. Okay, computational problem solving. What exactly do you mean by that? What exactly do I mean by computational problem solving? By the way, what do you mean by a problem solving? What do you mean by problem solving? What exactly? What exactly? I'm sure that you would have definitely come across this term called as problem solving. So what exactly do you mean by this problem solving? Any idea? What do you mean by problem solving? Anyone for that matter? We'll discuss Python tomorrow. Using Python, we basically solve a lot of problems. But first of all, let us understand what do you mean by problem solving? What is it all about? Quickly, you're not supposed to
Correction
sit
of errors.
silently. What is it, ma?
Correction of errors.
No, correction of errors is not problem solving. No, correction of errors. What errors? No, correction of errors is okay. No, not exactly. What do you mean by problem solving? Anyone? See, it's okay if it is wrong, but don't sit simply. Just answer.
Finding solutions to a complex issues.
Complex issues. Okay.
Yeah.
So finding solutions for complex. Who is that?
Lakshmi, sir.
Lakshmi. Okay. So Lakshmi, give me an example for complex issues, Lakshmi. What do you mean by complex issues?
Maybe the program or technical issues.
Maybe the problem or technical issues. Okay, fine. Let us come out of computer science. And then start thinking. What exactly do you mean by problem solving? What do you mean by problem, first of all?
Writing algorithms, sir.
Writing algorithms is part of solving, yeah. But basically, okay, fine. That is part of it. Okay, fine. Okay, who said that?
Geeta,
that?
sir.
Geeta, that is part of it, Geeta. Okay, but let me make it more. Let me give you an analogy. Okay, so that analogies would definitely help you learn better and make things understand. Okay, assume now, say for example, a husband. Okay, a husband. Okay, and a wife. Okay, can you see my screen? A husband and a wife. Okay, are having issues in their in their marital life. Okay, they're having issues in their marital life, right? Now, is there a problem? Is there a problem? No problem.
It
Guys,
is
answer,
problem.
no?
It is
There
a
is
problem.
a problem, right? Yeah, they have a problem in their marital life. Okay, so they're not doing good. They're very unhappy with that. Okay, there is a problem.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? They have a problem, correct? Now, what will they do actually? What will they do? They basically come to some marriage counselor. Assume there is a marriage counselor. Okay, let me talk about Subhash K. is the marriage counselor. Okay, I make couple happy. Okay, so they come to me. So if they come to me, what is that I can actually? They have a problem, right? Agree or not? They have a problem, right?
Yes.
Correct. They have a problem, right? So why did they come to? Why did they come? 1 second. I'll allow 2 people into the class. Okay. Okay. So why did they come to Subhash Kiyu, the marriage counselor? Why did they come? Guys, can you can unmute
Because they
yourself?
have a problem. Because they have a problem.
Because they have a problem, correct? Now,
which
how
they are not unable to solve.
They are unable to solve that, correct? Now, what should Subhash do? What should Subhash do? Okay, can Subhash directly say, go take up a divorce, go die? Can I say that?
No.
Can I say that? Is that a problem solver? Am I a problem solver?
No.
No, right? So what is the next thing that I have to do? Anyone else? If anyone can help me out.
First,
yeah. So how do I
you need to understand their problem. Then you need to analyze.
Okay.
Then you need to understand. First you need to understand what is the problem. Then the root cause. Then analyze it.
Yes.
Then think about a solution.
Exactly. Put your hands together for her. Super. Okay. Is this Chaitra?
Yes,
sir. Chaitra? Yeah, Chaitra. Awesome. Okay. So exactly what Chaitra told is right. Okay. The moment someone comes with a problem to me, okay, that so forget about someone. This couple has come to me with a problem, right? So I have to solve the problem. So how do I solve it? Okay. I cannot directly give you a solution. Just say, okay, this works. Go and do it, right? So first thing that I got to do is I have to say from where did the problem start? Okay, can you please give me some representation of those? Okay, so what did you talk to the wife? What did she reply to that? And what happened? And I wasn't to first understand the scenario completely. I cannot be biased. I cannot say, oh, I am a marriage counselor. I am a male. I will support a male. Okay, these females are always dirty. They will always make sure that, they will always cause problems. I will not be able to say that. Right. So what did I have to do? I'll have to understand the problem. I have to understand the picture finally, and then give us a solution. Yes or no? So if I want to solve a problem, 2 things are necessary. Geeta already told. One is algorithm. Correct? Geeta only told me this, right? Geeta told me this, right? Okay. One is algorithm. Geeta told us. Who said? Geeta only said, right? Yeah. Geeta said algorithm is needed. Okay, fine. But if you want to write an algorithm, I'll talk about algorithm, what is that, what is algorithm later, okay? So before that, if an algorithm has to be put, okay, before that I got to understand a complete representation, or I got to capture the concepts that are involved in the problem. I need to capture all the concepts that are involved in the problem and then put an algorithm for it to solve it. Okay, so this will be how to solve, and this would be the data which is an input to this how. Got it or not? This is basically, I call it as computational problem solving. Got it or not? Looks little bit scary, but you must understand this. Understood or not? Understood or not?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want me to repeat, you can just say repeat. I will repeat it.
So you're saying algorithm is a solution, right?
Algorithm, thanks for asking. Algorithm is how do I do it? Example. Now what I do is, Subhash K, you will ask, we will call this guy as, give me some name. No, I'll call this guy as X and this girl as XC. Is that okay? I'll call it as XC. Right now, what happens is I'll ask X. X, tell me what happened, so that there was a fight between you both. Now then X will say this is what I said. Okay. Then XC will say this is what happened and all that. Then what I'll do, I'll separately call X and ask, okay, you tell me what exactly is the problem with XC. Then I'll call XC and ask XC, you tell me what exactly is the problem with X and all that. So I do this so that I capture all details of the problem. Right? No, but when I'm capturing all these details, right, I am not interested in, I will not ask these questions. Listen to me carefully. Okay, I will not ask X, tell me when you were actually fighting with your XC, that is your wife, can you tell me what color of shirt were you actually wearing? Can I ask that?
No.
Is that a relevant question? Is that a relevant question? So when
Not
you're solving
relevant.
problems, yeah, there are problems. Okay, when you're solving problems, right, there are things that you have to ignore. Okay, you cannot talk about what color pant you were wearing, what color shirt you were wearing, what color hat you were wearing, what were you eating, and there are so many details, but I don't want all those details. Only details that I need is that, what did you speak to her? What did you actually do? What is that did you verbally abuse her? Okay, so those things is what I call it as capturing the details. Okay, so most of them, the moment in real time programming, when they are capturing the details, the requirement from the client, because they have a problem, right, they capture all unwanted things. Okay, so when I say real computational problem solving, is first thing is capturing all the details. Okay, once you capture all the details, then you will got to find out the algorithm, that is how do I use these details to solve that problem. Say for example, XC would have asked for, okay, a night drive, say to Goa or something like that. Let us assume, okay, and this X being very, during this pandemic, he's the verge of losing a job. He did not tell that to XC, and in the fit of anger, what happened? He, blasted her. And normally, what happens when a fight happens between a husband and wife? You know what happens? Husband knows her father is more close to her, so he will start scolding her father. Not really, he means it, but he wants to hurt her because he knows that, for her father is more close, right? So he would have scolded her father now, right? So these are the things which I want to capture. Now, once I capture these details, now I'll call X and ask X, what did you actually scold her? So he'll say, I scolded that her father is the worst father, did not know how to take care of the child when you were younger. Now, you're irritating the husband and all those things. Now I understood, okay, this is what he said. Then I'll call XC and ask XC, what did he say? Then I'll capture that. Then what I'll do is I want to now write an algorithm. Okay, so algorithm would be that, I will tell X, see X, it was your mistake that you have spoken bad about her father. Now what is that you have to do is that you have to actually buy some new shirt or anything like that for her father and gift it in front of her. That is an algorithm. You're getting it? Oh, but you will be able to write this algorithm only if you actually capture the details, that what has happened. You getting what I'm saying? So this is what I call as computational problem solving, capturing the data, first analyzing the data, as Chaitra said, and then figure out what algorithm has to be written to solve the problem using the data that has been given by the client. Is that okay? Not okay? Did you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, this is just an analogy. I'm going to give you a real technical example now. Is that okay? Did you understand this? Okay, yes. Not okay? Everyone, just say okay if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now let me get back to the material that I've given to you. Okay. So what is an algorithm? So Someone was asking, I don't know who asked, I don't know, what is an algorithm? See, algorithm is nothing but a series of steps that has to be systematically followed to achieve a particular goal. I will repeat once again, algorithm is nothing but, need not write down or anything like that, just understand. Don't by heart anything here. We are not going to write any exams. We are going to understand things like a story. Okay, algorithm is a series of steps that are systematically followed to solve a particular problem or achieve or arrive at a particular goal. Did you get that? I will repeat once again. Algorithm is nothing but a series of steps, okay, that must be systematically followed. I'll give you another definition for algorithm later. In the material it is there. Okay, so an algorithm is a series of steps that are systematically followed to basically solve a problem or arrive at a particular solution. Okay, so what exactly do you mean by a computational CPS? In this material, CPS stands for computational problem solving. Okay, so in the bracket I've told you, it is nothing but representation of the problem in some form, okay, plus algorithm. Okay, now let me give you a real problem. This is a very famous problem. Okay, I don't know how many of you have heard or have seen this problem before. The problem is all about a man, a cabbage, okay, a goat, and a wolf. Is that, how many of you have heard? If you heard, just say yes, I have heard about this problem. You heard? You
No.
heard? No, you're not heard. Okay, if you heard, good. Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
you have heard about this problem. Yeah, it's a very famous problem. I expected everyone to know this. That is the reason I put this. If not, okay, let me tell you this. Listen to me very carefully. Okay, now okay, let me put a picture so that you understand it properly. Over here I'm okay, right? Now there is a river. Okay, there is a river, right? And who all are there? A man is there, then a cabbage is there, then what else is there? A wolf
A
is there,
goat.
okay, and then a goat is there. Correct? Now assume this is east side. Okay, this is the east part of the river and this is the west part of the river, right? Now the problem is that this guy has to cross the river. He has to cross the river from east to west. Okay, and he has to bring everyone towards the west part. He has to come to the west part of the river. But the problem is that he has a boat also along with him, and in his boat he can only carry one item at a time. Okay, now tell me, how will he actually solve this? How will he be able to cross the river? Okay, if suppose what happens is, if he carries cabbage along with him, okay, then what happens? If he carries cabbage along with him, what will happen? The wolf will eat the goat. Okay, and if he carries the the wolf along with him, then what would happen? Then what? Goat will eat.
Goat would eat the cabbage.
Okay, so it is basically a problem. Now can you tell me, how do I actually solve this problem? Okay, this is general problem, but you'll have to put that into code. Okay, I'll come to that later. But before this, is there a problem here? Is this a problem? Yes, no?
Yes.
Is this a problem?
Yes.
Yeah. Now if I want to solve this problem, okay, basically today I'm not teaching anything in Python, but yes, you can solve this in C, you can solve it in C++, you can solve it in Python and all that, but these are just languages. Okay, but what you need to solve this is the skill of problem solving skills. Okay, if you know how to solve this problem, and if you know a language, you can implement it, right? So my question is, I started the session with, what do you mean by computational problem solving? That was my question. Yes or no? The question was, what do you mean by computational problem solving? So having said that, okay, now you can see that first thing is, I told you, what is that? We have to basically have a representation, and then we should basically have a algorithm. Agree? Didn't I tell you that? I gave you that example of the marriage counselor, right? First thing is, when you have a problem, first thing is, you'll have to capture all the details and put them into some state. If you can actually put them into some state, and then looking at it, then we can actually basically start solving or we can bring up any algorithm, or we can actually use already existing algorithm, or we can basically implement our own algorithm to solve a particular problem. Agree, disagree with this, right? So now, how would I basically represent this? Listen to it. I call this as the state of a problem. There can be multiple states while solving this problem, right? There can be multiple states. Okay, the initial state is what? Man, the cabbage, goat, and wolf all are in the east position. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
They're in the east. They are on the east side of the river. Correct? Now the final state that we need as the solution for the problem is that it has to come to the final state where man and cabbage and goat and wolf. All these four are on the west side of the river,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So this is the first state and this is the second state. Did you see this? This is the first state and this is the last, final state. In between there can be many states. Okay, so one of the random middle state that I've given is man is on the west, goat is on the west side of the river, whereas cabbage and wolf is in the east. Okay, so now you might ask me, Subhash, what are you basically trying to tell? What I'm trying to tell you is that I want you to, before solving any problem, I want you to capture all these details on a sheet of paper. If you can actually capture this on a sheet of paper, only then you can actually make use of an algorithm to solve a particular problem. Else you will not be able to solve any kind of problems. You're getting what I'm trying to tell you? I am trying to tell you what is computational problem solving. Computational problem solving is first representing the state or capturing the entire details. Now tell me, while you're capturing these details, okay, while you're capturing these details, is it really necessary to know what is the color of the boat? Should I capture the detail of that? Is it necessary? No, right? Is it necessary to see what is the name of the person? Is it necessary for me to solve this problem? No, answer my question. Is this necessary?
No.
It is not necessary. Is it necessary to know? What language the person actually speaks? Not necessary, right? So I am not interested in those states. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. When you are solving a problem, you must know what is that state that I got to capture. If you don't know what state to capture, then you'll not be able to solve the problem. So computational problem solving is all about capturing the relevant aspects of the problem, putting that into a format, okay, and looking at the format, then you actually design an algorithm or a logic to solve the problem. Is that okay? Not okay. Did you get what I'm trying to tell you? Did you get what I'm saying? Any problem for that matter from today that we'll be learning, any problem that we give you, okay, you are supposed to first represent that and you have to see what is the data. Now, for example, let me tell you, okay, let me give you an example. See, here I've given you, the initial state as, I want to give 4 states, initials, four, attributes over here. That is man, cabbage, goat and wolf, all are in the east part of the river. Agree, disagree? Agree, disagree? Okay.
Agree.
Suppose I want to, now you must start thinking. Now assume that you are solving this problem using Python. Or because we are not learned Python, let us forget about it. Assume that we are solving this using Java. Okay. Now Sudhir is there. Let me talk to Sudhir. Sudhir has done his Java. Now Sudhir, if a problem is given to you and you want to represent these 4 attributes, it means that I have to put these attributes in one particular data structure. Which one would you use in Java?
A string?
String?
An array.
An array, you could use an array, yes. So Sudhir is able to say that I will use an array because he has first figured out the state. He has figured out the state, correct? No? And he knows the language, and now the language gives an array concept. Now he'll be able to put this into a representation over here, and then what is pending is the algorithm. That's the logic. Got what I'm trying to tell you? Okay. So whenever you are solving any problem, okay, especially in computer science, you must know how to represent that data. And second one is you are supposed to use the algorithm. Okay, I'm repeating again and again so that it goes and sits in your head. Okay, not okay?
Okay.
Okay, everyone okay? If everyone okay, I'll proceed to the next one. Everyone okay? Yeah, so you will be doing a lot of problem solving in this course. Is that okay? Yeah, having said that, now what is the logic to solve the problem becomes your algorithm. Okay, so someone asked what is algorithm. So the logic to solve this problem, representation is over, that is called the state of the problem, and the logic that we use to actually solve this problem is basically called as the algorithm. So algorithm and representation both put together becomes your problem solving, which is nothing but computer science. The stream of computer science is fundamentally nothing but the art of computational problem solving. Okay, it's not about programming languages, database, hardware, software, and all are just part of it, factors which will help you solve problems. Okay, mainly computer science is nothing but, or if computer science is fundamentally the art of computational problem solving. Got this? Okay, yeah. Having said that, okay, anyone knows what do you mean by brute force algorithm approach in solving a problem? Have you heard about this anytime? If you heard, just say yes. If not, just say no. Brute force algorithmic approach in solving. Anyone? Nobody has. It's a very famous concept.
Yes.
Sudhir, you have heard?
Yeah.
Only heard. Okay. Sudhir, you have heard?
Yes.
Yeah. So, have any idea what do you mean by brute force method?
brute force is to try every possible approach.
Absolutely, right? So if suppose there is a problem given to you and you want to figure out a solution, okay, brute force approach says you will have to, follow all possible solutions, or you will have to try out all possible solutions to arrive at, all possible, what do you call, yeah, solutions to arrive at a right solution. That is basically called as brute force method. Okay, for example, okay, how many of you have heard of this problem called as traveling salesman problem? How many of you have heard of it? It's again a very famous algorithm. I'm not teaching algorithms, but still I just want to take this example. How many of you heard of this problem called as traveling salesman problem? Okay,
No.
you've heard. Okay,
No.
so what? Yeah, okay. Now, what do you mean by this traveling salesman problem? Is that if suppose, now you can see in the diagram, I don't know how many cities are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, say almost 10 cities are there represented by numbers. Did you see that in the picture?
Yes.
You can see that there are 10 cities represented by various numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so the traveling salesman problem says if a salesman has to visit a given number of cities, okay, and then your problem must, or your program or your solution must give him an idea about the shortest route that he can actually take to reach a particular city. Got it? You got what I'm saying? Traveling salesman problem says that, okay, if a given number of cities are there and if a salesman has to travel to a given set of cities, okay, then your problem, or your program has to tell the salesman which is the shortest route to take so that he can actually reach the destination faster. Okay, so if suppose you want to figure this out, okay, who comes to my mind? Google Maps come to my mind, right? Now, but imagine if Google Maps has to implement this, it gives it so quickly in seconds, right? It gives so in seconds. But if you apply brute force approach to this, what happens? Brute force approach is basically you will have to find from 1 to all the other, it will start calculating the roads between 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, like that. It calculates all the roads, okay, and then basically it will compare all the solutions of all the problems and then finally give you, boss, this is the shortest route. Yes, you're getting what I'm saying? Okay, now you know what is the problem of that? If suppose for 10 cities the possible routes are 10 factorial, which is nothing but 3.5 million solutions you have for that. The route, the computation that has to be done is 3.5 plus million for 10 cities. Okay, just for 10 cities, imagine. Okay, now if for 20 cities, okay, then the number is, if suppose you want to calculate, then it is 20 factorial. So 20 factorial possible routes are there. Imagine how much is it? Okay, 2.5 quintillion. Okay, now assuming if a computer, listen to me very carefully, using brute force approach, assuming if a computer could compute the lengths of 1 million routes per second, assuming, this is just my assumption, if your computer can compute the lengths of 1 million routes per second, it would take over 77,000 years to find the shortest route for 20 cities by this approach. If you suppose you find this, okay, imagine then Google Maps would not be using this approach for sure. Yeah, if suppose for 50 cities the number of possible routes is over 10 to the power 64, in this case it would take more time to solve than the age of the universe. You understanding it? So Subhash, why are you telling all this to us? Correct? What is your intention behind this? Okay, now I told you computational problem solving is nothing but representing the data and figuring out an algorithm and then put together and solve the problem, right? But can you solve such kind of problems using some random algorithm like this brute force approach? It's not possible. Okay, because see, I've given this in red. Any algorithm that correctly solves a given problem must solve the problem in a reasonable amount of time. Otherwise, it is of limited practical use. It means when I used to take interviews, or even when I was a programmer and all that, we used to develop algorithms. Okay, and we used to feel very good that, see, I have a solution for this and all that. Okay, developing algorithm is not a great thing. Okay, but developing an algorithm which will actually give us the result in a reasonable amount of time is very important. Okay, you cannot claim that, boss, I'm very good at programming, I know Python very well, I know C very well, I know Java very well and all that, and then you design an algorithm, and if it takes the time more than the age of a universe, then it's of no use, boss. You understanding? When you're designing an algorithm, you must know how to actually design an algorithm which can actually give you solutions in a reasonable amount of time. Else, it is of no use. That's what I've given you. It's very important. Keep this in your mind for all non-computer science students who are listening to me for the very first time. If you're basically coming up with a problem to a solution, say for example, as a marriage counselor, if I was trying to counsel those that couple, okay, then I should have given them a solution which works faster, rather than if suppose my solution takes more than 15 years for them to patch up, then there is of no use, right? My solution worked, but when did it work? It worked after 15 years. Is that of any use? Will it worked, but it is of limited use, isn't it? So when you're solving a problem, it should solve in a reasonable amount of time. It means it should be very quick. Got what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, everyone, did you get? You didn't get? Okay, you cannot say I have given a problem. I have got the solution for a problem, but at what time? Is it fast, or is it any algorithm better than yours? Got what I'm trying to tell you? So from today, when you say I'm good at programming, when I'm good at writing algorithms, you must ask how good is your algorithm. You're getting what I'm saying? Okay, it might be in C, it might be in Python, it might be in Java, it might be in any programming language for that matter. When you code it, you must actually take care of your timing also. Okay, so in green, I've given very specifically that an algorithm is a finite number of clearly described, unambiguous. You know what do you mean by unambiguous? There should not be any confusion. It may not, no such kind of confusion should be there. Okay, unambiguous, doable steps that can be systematically followed to produce a desired result for a given input in a finite amount of time. Everything is covered in this particular definition. Can you please read it? Please, once again, can you please read it? An algorithm, whenever you're writing a problem, ask yourself, is it, okay, a finite number of clearly described, unambiguous, doable steps that can be systematically followed to produce a desired result for a given input in a finite amount of time. This is basically an exact definition of algorithm. Is that okay? Clear with that? You have any questions, you can ask me. I'll wait for some time.
Subhash, if the algorithm is so accurately designed, why do you have bugs?
Bugs is there in your programming. No, bugs are. See, tell me, who is perfect in this world? Is there anything perfect in this world? Sandeep is there. Sandeep is asking, huh?
Yeah.
Sandeep. Sandeep, is there anything? Is there? Do you find any? I mean, any perfect thing in this world?
No.
So that is my answer. Okay, we always tend to be perfect. We try to come to the best. Okay, but still, of course, yes, there would be some of the other problems which we have not foreseen. Yes or no? There are some data always which are unforeseen. Okay, and when it is unforeseen, what you do is we try to fix it off. And over a period of time, now when you take this iPhone, when you take an example of an iPhone, simple iPhone, okay, n number of testing goes into that. Okay, but still, even if they release a phone, right, there would be a bug somewhere here or there. There cannot be any algorithm which is completely bug free. Okay, but yes, it should be at least unambiguous. It should be some doable steps. Okay, and it should work in a reasonable amount of time.
So is it like
no, 1 second, Chaitra, we'll just finish off Sandeep's question. You getting it, Sandeep?
Yeah, got it.
You got it? Okay. So we try to get it perfect, but yeah, I think real time, very impossible to do that. Okay, but we'll really strive to do that. Any company would strive to do that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Chaitra.
So is it like when you say algorithm, right? I understand it's how to solve, and is it a design in the perspective of Python, or what do you exactly mean?
Algorithm is okay. You cannot call it as design. You can basically call it as design is part of it. Okay, so algorithm is it is given in the description. It's nothing but a finite number of steps to solve it. Say for example, I need to go and simple example. Okay, now Chaitra has to join Subhash KU's classes. Okay, so tell me what are the steps. So I write step 1. Okay, step 1 is I will go to Subhash KU's website. Step 2, okay, take his number. Step 3, call him up. Step 4, talk to him. Step 5, like that. These are the steps. That is basically an algorithm.
Okay.
Okay, so those sequence of steps, right? Okay, so if it has to be implemented in a particular programming language so that the computer will understand.
Sure, sir.
Okay, because the moment you say step one, say for example you want to find the GCD of two numbers using Euclid's algorithm, for example. Okay, so you basically need to take two numbers, okay, and then find the mod of that. You apply a mod operator, then you'll get the result, and then you see whether the B has become 0. Then second, so you write a series of steps. Step one, take two numbers. Step two, okay, is apply the mod operator between A and B, okay, and the third step is check the result. Fourth step is see if B has become 0. Else, if it has not become, then repeat the steps once again. So you basically write it in English, okay. It's a series of steps, and then what you do is once you figured out, yes, it will give a solution for us. I have arrived at a solution. What you do is you implement that using the language.
Sure, sir.
You use Python or C or Java or anything for that matter and solve that using that particular language. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions to take up?
So can we say it's like the recipe in cooking?
Yes, of course. Yes, it is a recipe book. It's like a recipe book. Right. Sudhir, okay? Sudhir?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, cool. Is there any other questions? I can take it up quickly before proceeding further. Any other questions? Are you all okay with this? Okay, not okay?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, just say okay if you're okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, awesome. Now, for those people who have not got into programming at all, and if you are very first time into programming, and then what I'll do is I'll ask a question for you guys. Okay, what is the difference between syntax and semantics? Syntax, and you have heard of the syntax, right? If you're new to programming, then you wouldn't have heard of syntax. Okay, so basically you always come across these two terminologies called as syntax and semantics. Okay, so I'll be using these terminologies quite often, so I thought let me put it over here. Okay, syntax is basically the right way to put in your words. Okay, so for example is in English, if I'm talking, because I've not got into Python, okay, so I'll just make use of English for now. Okay, the correct syntax is what is your name, putting all your English characters, letters, sentences, punctuation marks and all together properly so that it makes a meaningful statement is basically called as the correct syntax. What is your name? Yes. Now this is basically called as syntax. Now what is wrong syntax? See, you can see there is a lot of mistake over here. Instead of WHAT, I just put WHT. Okay, there is U missing, there is A missing in name. Okay, this is basically the syntax problem. Okay, so the same thing, I'll talk about syntax when I come to Python also. So it is when you don't use the proper vocabulary of the Python language. Okay, here I'm not using the proper vocabulary of English language, that becomes your wrong English syntax. So similarly in programming language, if you do not use the proper syntax given by Python or C or Java for that matter, that becomes a wrong syntax. Okay, so most of them get confused with what is the what do you mean by syntax problem and what do you mean by semantics problem. Okay, so this is syntax where you make mistakes with the wordings and all like this. Now what do you mean by semantics? Semantics is, see, what is your name is the right semantics. Okay, and wrong semantics is, you can see the English words, alphabet, everything is right, there is no problem in that, but the way you have put across your sentence is wrong. It means these are basically called as logical errors. These are logical errors. Everything is right, but the compiler says or the program says yes, the English, the words and all are right, but the way you have put your logic and the way you have actually put across your statement is basically wrong. That is basically called as your semantics. Okay, or basically you can call it as your logical problems. The logic in presenting something is basically called as your semantics. Is that okay? Is that okay? Just say okay if you're okay with this. Just say okay, because I'll be making use of these terminologies again and again. Okay, yeah, okay. So again, I'll be teaching you something called as compiler and interpreter. It is in general. So in tomorrow's class, I will go detail in how a compiler for Python works, how an interpreter for Python works. For now, it's only generic for people who don't know about the compiler and interpreter. Okay, so people who don't know about, can you tell me how many are first time attending my session who don't know about compilers? Because I'm going to give you an analogy for those guys. The very first time, attending it for the first time, quickly, who don't know about compilation and all that. First time, because others have explained them in various other sessions. Okay, yeah, cool. Now listen to me carefully. Yeah, okay, no problem. Listen. Okay, now, okay, no problem. Just listen to me. Cool. Now, I will give you an analogy for compilation. Before that, okay, let us assume this. It's a very famous analogy I keep giving in all my sessions. Okay, so we will talk about the great Narendra Modi for now. Assume we have Narendra Modi. Over here, he is Narendra Modi. Okay. Now what happens is that he wants to come to a remote village in, say, in Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, wherever it is. Okay. For now, I'll just take Karnataka, a remote place, say Tumkur. He has to come to a place called as Tumkur in Karnataka. Okay. And then he has to deliver a speech to these people. He has to deliver a speech in Tumkur. Okay. So what he will do you think, what is the language that people of Tumkur know? Can anyone tell me? What is the language of people of Tumkur told? Can you tell me what is it? Kannada, right? They speak Kannada here. Correct. Very good. They speak Kannada. But do you think Modi knows Kannada? Do you think Modi knows Kannada? Modi does not know Kannada, right? What does he speak? What does he speak? He speaks, what does Modi speak? He speaks Hindi, right? Modi wants to deliver a speech and he speaks Hindi. Okay, but people of Tumkur, that is here, these remote people, village people, don't understand Hindi. They only understand Kannada. But they have to hear to Modi, and Modi has to deliver a speech. So what is it he does? What does Modi do? He basically will hire a translator. Okay, he is no one other than Yediyurappa, who is none other than the CM of Karnataka. He is the CM of Karnataka. Okay, so what he does is he acts as a translator over here. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between translator, compiler, and interpreter in some time. Okay, now listen to me carefully. So what happens here is that Narendra Modi will start speaking in Hindi. Mera naam Narendra Modi hai, blah blah blah. Right? You know what Yediyurappa will do as a translator? Yediyurappa will take all these high-level language, the statements that he makes out of this high-level language, that is Hindi, okay, to our local language of Karnataka, that is Kannada. He will translate this. Okay, so this is basically the job role of a translator. Now here you must ask me, what is the difference between a translator and a compiler? Okay, listen to me carefully. Okay, this fellow, that is our Yediyurappa, the CM of Karnataka, what he does, if he is acting like a translator, you know what he does? He takes everything that Modi speaks, converts that into Kannada and gives it to the people of Karnataka over here. It means if Modi even abuses people of Karnataka, says aap log sale kutte hai and all those, he abuses people of Karnataka over here, and still Yediyurappa takes that and converts that into Kannada, saying nee wala nai narigalu kattegulu ante, something. He translates that into Kannada like this. Okay, now do you think the people of Karnataka keeps quiet? Do you think people here of Tumkur keeps quiet? They've already come with tomatoes and stones and all those. They will start pelting at both of them, isn't it? So if Yediyurappa starts just converting every statement that Modi makes, then what happens is that he is basically acting like a translator. That's all. That is basically a translator. Okay. Now, what do you mean by a compiler? Compiler will not translate everything. Rather, compiler will first take each and every statement. Okay, and Yediyurappa will now see if there is any problem. Say for example, Narendra Modi says, Mera naam Narendra Modi hai. So Yediyurappa will scan that completely. Okay, and then converts that. He sees that there is no problem in that statement. He converts that. Even through Narendra Modi ante. He translates and gives it to the people of Karnataka. Then he says, okay, again Narendra Modi says, aap log sale kutte hai. So what Yediyurappa will do? Yediyurappa will take that statement. And he scans it completely and he sees, okay, he is abusing the people of Karnataka over here. And then he stops and says, Modi, no, I'm not going to translate this. I'm going to give you an error. Thumb, boom, it blows up, right? He gives you an error. That is basically the job of a compiler. Okay, so compiler is nothing but taking a high level language, okay, just confirms that there is no problem in the language vocabulary. If everything is fine, then converts that into the local language. Okay, that is basically the job of a compiler. There is a difference between a translator and a compiler. Translator doesn't make any kind of cross verifying. He doesn't make any error checks, whereas compiler makes the error checking and then converts that into your local language. So how does this work in computer science? How does it work in a computer science? You will write a code. Okay, might be in C or Java or whatever it is. You might write a code. Okay, let me call it as main for now. If you guys know C language, this is your high level code. Okay, and then here comes the compiler. He is your compiler. Okay, what does the compiler do? Okay, reads this high level language and converts that into your machine level language or binary language, that is zeros and ones. zeros and one completely zeros and ones, which would be understood by our CPU. This is our, this is what our CPU will understand. Our CPU doesn't understand what is main, what is int, what is string, what is, linked list, everything. All those things your CPU won't understand. CPU will only understand zeros and ones, nothing else. You got what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, your CPU doesn't understand anything other than zeros and ones. Okay, so for that reason, okay, CPU is the one who will execute all your instructions. For that, your source code has to be, that is, which is nothing but high level language. Okay, your source code, which is English like looking high level language, has to be converted into your machine level language or your low level language. Okay, and who will do that job? That job is done by the compiler. Compiler is a tool that converts your English like looking high level language into machine level language or low level language, so that the CPU will understand it and does the operation. Got it? Got it or not? If you got it, just say got it. Else I'll repeat once again. Compiler is a tool that will read your English like looking high level language, then checks for the error and all those, and converts that into your machine language that the CPU will understand it. Got it? This is basically the job of a compiler. Okay, now there is a small, another tool. Okay, let me first finish this off. See the diagram over here. I have written a small Python code over here. Don't worry about Python. I've not even started. Tomorrow we'll start. Okay, I have written a Python code. I've given that to the compiler. Compiler will convert that into binary code, and then that binary code is given to the CPU. CPU will execute that and give us the output. Is that okay? Is that okay over here? This is basically the compiler. Converts machine code, okay? Converts into, does not converts, converts into machine code or byte code. I'll talk about byte code tomorrow. Don't worry about it for now, okay? So converts into machine code or byte code. Now, having said that, did you understand compiler? Before me proceeding further, did you understand what is a compiler? Then I'll go to interpreter. Did you understand? Everyone? Everyone? Okay? Yeah? Fine. Right. Now, what do you mean by interpreter? Who is this fellow called as interpreter? Okay, it slightly deviates from the concept of compiler. The diagram will actually tell you. Before that, we'll just read this. Software that runs on top of CPU, to that runs program instructions in place of CPU, it says. Okay, it's not in place of, actually in bracket I've given on top of. It looks like as if it's in place of on top of CPU, but I'll explain about more about interpreter tomorrow with respect to Python. For now, just understand. Yeah, Geeta, right? Okay, so basically it looks like this. Okay, you write a code, okay, and you give it to the interpreter. Interpreter sits on top of the CPU, but basically interpreter will take each line. If you see here, what happens, the entire code would be, compiled by the compiler and put it into binary, and the whole file is given to the CPU. Whereas here in interpreter, what happens is, most of the time, okay, when the source code is given to the interpreter would actually convert each and every line. It will execute the instructions and give you the output, okay, with the help of CPU. But this converting, converting into machine level and figuring out what is the A plus B and all those things is basically done by the interpreter sitting on top of the CPU. With the help of the CPU, it does it and gives us the output. Is that okay? This is basically the and this happens line by line on the fly. Okay, so more about how it works and all that I'll tell you in tomorrow's session with respect to Python. Is that okay? This is on a general overview. Is that okay? Okay, Lakshmi is telling once more. No problem. You write a Python code or any code for that matter. Okay, whichever uses interpreter. Okay, so Python basically uses interpreter. What Python does is it will give you an interpreter. That's all. You don't worry about compiling or anything. Hello, one second. Okay. Yeah, hello. Right. Okay. Right. So you write a Python code and you give it to the interpreter. So interpreter will convert these statements into, its machine code, and it will execute all these instructions and give it to you. Okay, you need not separately compile this, make it into binary, and then you giving it to CPU is not required. All those tasks are taken care by the interpreter itself. How, when, how it works depends on various interpreters. Okay, so tomorrow I'll tell you how Python interpreter will work. Is that okay? Is that okay? In one way, if Java also has an interpreter inside its JVM. Okay, and even Python's interpreter also, I'll be discussing like that in tomorrow's session. I think it will be here in more detail. I'll be going into the PVM, that is Python virtual machine, tomorrow. Okay, so don't worry, I'll tell you how this Python program will work and all tomorrow. So for now, I'm just trying to give you some information for those people who are very new to programming. Is that okay? Is that okay, guys? So for compiler, you can see the difference over here. You compile the whole code, convert the entire code into binary, and then give it to the CPU. Whereas in this case, you give the code to the interpreter. Interpreter will do each and every step line by line, and it will actually give you the output, because it is sitting on top of, with the help of, you can call it as with the help of a CPU. So how, in more detail, I'll tell you tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So before winding up the session, I also want to tell you one more thing. Okay, it is, what is the process involved in computational problem solving? Very important, guys. From tomorrow, when I ask you to solve some problem, you are supposed to follow this method. Okay, so there are basically 4 steps. Whenever you're solving any problem, there are 4 steps. Okay, first one is problem analysis. Okay, now second one is program design. Okay, the third one is program implementation, and the fourth one is program testing. Okay, this is where testers come into picture. This is a place where this job is done by the testers. Okay, and most of the time program implementation is done by the junior software engineers or senior software engineers. Okay, problem analysis is done by the architects, and problem design is basically done by the technical lead. Okay, with the help of architect, and then comes the below level. Okay, so after your product is ready, the testing is basically done by the testers. But yeah, there is something called as unit testing, which the programmers themselves have to do before even handing over the entire feature to the testers, the real testers. Real testers may not know anything about the coding part. Okay, they only test your product to see whether it is working or not. Okay, now if I give you a problem from tomorrow, the first thing that you got to do is problem analysis. So what comes under program analysis is that, okay, understanding the problem. First thing is you got to understand, okay, what is the problem? Say for example, in that wolf, cabbage, goat, and the man and the boat and river problem, right? Now, did you understand the problem? What is that he has to do? Did you understand the problem? The problem was that he has to take one item, at once, at any given point of time in the board. He can only take one item with him. Okay, that is the problem. In that case, when you know the problem, now you'll have to start thinking, how do I represent that? Okay, then you saw that I represented that also using that, M and E and W and all those things. I represented that. So later you can solve it. That's a different story. First thing is you have to represent it, right? So you have understood that problem clearly. Okay, now you must know in this phase that the shirt is wearing or the hat is wearing is not a problem, and I don't want to actually represent all that. Let me abstract all those details. That is not needed. What is needed, I will represent that. Okay, having said that, knowing what constitutes a solution. Okay, now you must know which is the right solution for it. An architect will know this, right? Whether there is a single solution or there is an approximate solution. You know what do you mean by single solution? Okay, there can only be one solution, no other way. Only one solution. Finally, there is only one solution. That's all. Now you tell me, is there only one solution for wolf, cabbage, man, and the goat's problem? Is there one solution, or there could be many solutions?
Multiple.
There are multiple solutions. There are multiple solutions for it. It's not one single solution, right? So you know that. Now, Sudhir, can you tell me what for that the problem that I told you for traveler salesman problem? One solution, multiple solution.
That is likely to have a single solution.
Exactly. Why do you say that? It is likely to have a single solution.
Because unless there are two same distances somewhere in the path.
Awesome. Exactly, right? So in that 10 routes that it had, right? Routes among the total routes, okay, between 10 different cities. Okay, when I'm asking you to find out the shortest path, there can only be one shortest path. Okay, there can only be one solution unless there are two distances of the same two routes of the same distance. Okay, there can only be one solution, right? So basically thinking like this will help you solve a particular problem. This is the first step, that is problem analysis. Okay, do you have a single solution, or do you know what do you mean by approximate solution?
Maybe
not maybe, but it is, for example, pi value. Is there a right pi value? Pi value.
No,
22/7.
number.
Yeah, it is basically an approximate. This is what. Okay, so for a solution like that, you basically call it as an approximate solution. Okay, and there is something called as a best solution. Yes, there are several solutions. Among all that, this is the best solution. You can figure it out like that. Okay, now I'll give you one problem. What is the best solution? Let me now tell you. Okay, say assume, I'll give you a story for that. I'll give you an analogy for it. Okay. Where is my sketchbook? It's here. Let me give you an analogy so that you understand. Okay. First thing is, can I take someone's example over here? Say, whose example? Any girl's example? Anyone there? Whose name can I take? You can voluntarily tell me, else I'll randomly pick some name which you may not like. Is there any name voluntarily? You can give me some name here. Come on. I mean, nothing bad and all that. Soundarya, I'll take Soundarya. Okay, fine. I'll take. Who said Geeta first? Geeta Raghavi. Okay, let me take the first one. Geeta. Okay, yeah. So Geeta is here. Okay. Now Geeta, assume that you have a friend in office. I mean, you can make this as even a boy. Okay. So you have a friend in office, or you have a friend somewhere in your college or wherever it is. You have a friend. Okay. So boyfriend. I mean, a friend who is boy, not boyfriend. A friend who happens to be a boy. Okay, so not a boyfriend, or you can consider it as a boyfriend also, not a problem. Okay. Now what happens is, this fellow smokes. Okay, this fellow smokes. Because this fellow smokes, okay, you are not happy. Okay, Geeta, this is Geeta. Geeta, this is Sanju. Is that okay? Yeah, okay, right. Now Sanju is smoking, and because of that Geeta is not happy. Okay, now tell me, what is the probable solution to make Geeta happy? Geeta has to become happy. That is a problem solving now. We have to solve that problem. Geeta is currently unhappy. We have to make Geeta happy. What is that we have to do? And Sanju is Geeta's best friend. What can we do? No, don't expect me. Not smoke in front of Geeta. Hey, who is that something? No, he knows. Harini says stop smoking. Okay, okay. Do you think he has to quit smoking? Okay, he has to quit. No, so you cannot depend on him. No, so tell me, what are the solutions for it? Make him quit smoking. Okay, let's start from balance mode. Get mask for Geeta. Okay, right. Make him quit smoking. Okay, now let me tell you. First thing, first solution. Okay, first solution is try to change Sanju's behavior, or try to change Sanju. Okay, that is the first thing. If that doesn't work, listen with emotion or whatever it is. Okay, try to change Sanju. Okay, if this doesn't work, if the change cannot happen, then there are two things. Okay, second one is happily accept him, happily accept the way he is. Okay, happily accept and happily get along. Okay, this is one thing. Happily get along. Okay, right. Third one, if you cannot accept him, okay, happily get away from him. Just tell him and get away from him. Okay, now do you think any other solution is there apart from these three? Happily get away from him. That's all. Is there any other solution apart from this? There is no fourth alternative. That's all. These are the three solutions. Agree, disagree with this? Agree, disagree? Try to change Sanju. Okay, if he is not trying, if that is not happening, then happily accept. Okay, he's like this only, but still I'll be happily with him. Be along with him and happily get along with him. And the third one is, no, I cannot be with him. Then happily tell him that it's okay, boss, our relationship must end. We are no more being friends. I'm going away because I cannot be unhappily I cannot be with you unhappily. I want to be happy and I don't like your behavior. I'm going out. That's all. Okay, these are the only three solutions. Now out of these, if there are three solutions, now you can decide which is the best solution. Which is the best solution? You're getting what I'm saying? I'm just trying to change Sanju. If not possible, then these are two more solutions. Out of this, which is the best solution? Okay, out of this best solution, either you can consider. Now it is depending on Geeta what to choose the best solution. Okay, yeah. So happily get away from it. The problem. Okay, now let me become a little bit spiritual. The problem with people are that they unhappily get along or unhappily get away. Agree? Disagree with this? Okay, if they don't like someone's behavior, the problem in real life is what they do is they unhappily accept and unhappily get along. Yo, Rama, I should be with him, no, dirty fellow, through my life gone. They'll be unhappily be there. Or what happens is that they will unhappily get away. They'll have a fight, this and all that, and they won't speak to each other and they'll get away. Okay, so don't do that. Okay, so if you have in real time also, if you have such problems, you have to try to change. And if you cannot change the unchangeable, then happily get along. Okay, accept, be happy, or else happily saying, boss, see, it's not like this, I'm not liking it, let us be happy together, we'll stay apart and be happy and happily get away. That's all. Unfortunately, people unhappily get along and unhappily get away. Is that okay? Yes or no? Okay, so a little bit of spiritual gyan is required along with Python classes. Okay, so this is what I tried to tell you here. Where is my document now? Here. Okay, so these are the solutions. So for every problem, so many solutions would be there. So from today onwards, whenever you join an IT company or when you start programming and all that, you will have to take care of all these things. Okay, first is problem analysis, understand the problem and see how many solutions would be there for that. Okay, next is, I know I'm not taking a data structure class or algorithm class, but I thought if these basics I given to you, you might be a little bit matured compared to others. Learning a Python language is easy, it can be done. Okay, but you'll have to solve such problems, not only in Python, even in other programming language. Okay, yeah, next is you'll have to design. Okay, design is describing the data needed. You remember I told you the data needed there. Okay, what all data is needed, what all data should I ignore. Okay, you must take a decision on this, right? And then based on that, you'll have to describe the algorithm that is needed. Okay, when you're describing the algorithm that is needed, it can be either an algorithm. Most of the time, the algorithm that you need or the problem that comes to you is already designed by someone else. Most of the time, you can either use it, or if it needs, if suppose you need, okay, then you basically you must develop your own algorithm. Okay, so when you're designing an algorithm, make sure that it should take reasonable amount of time in solving the problem. You cannot design an algorithm which takes years together to solve a problem. Is that okay? Right? Yeah, having said that, once problem analysis and problem design is over, then you will have to do the program implementation. It could be in any language of your choice. Okay, based on your team lead or architect or whatever it is, use a Python or C or Java or C++, whatever it is. And once it is done, you got to test it with a lot of other parameters. Okay, now say for example, recently during my data structure class, what happens, right? I teach them this concept called a stack or linked list. Okay, so and I tell them you'll have to basically do, let me take an example of stack. I tell them you'll have to do push, pop, and display and all those things, and students are very happy, and after I teach them stack, they actually go ahead and implement stack and all that. Now they tell me, then I tell them, once you're done with it, call me. Okay, so then they'll happily call me. They want to impress me. Okay, because I've told them I'll give you some some perks or something, so they want to impress me and they immediately call me. Okay, then they'll say, sir, I've done a stack problem, now you can come and check. I'll tell them, okay, compile and run the code. Now what they do is they compile it, because they're sure they have tested it only for limited parameters. Then, but Subhash gave you, right? Because I've seen a lot of students like this, right? So what I do is I want to teach them something real, okay, which they won't expect. So what I do is when they start running, they expect me to enter some numbers, integer numbers like 2, 5, 6 for pushing onto the stack. If you don't know stack, forget it. It's okay. There is a concept on a stack. Okay, so people who knows try to take whatever I'm saying. Right, so they expect me to give some random numbers, 5, 6 and all that, but I won't give 5 and 6. What I'll give for testing? I'll just go and press X. The moment I press X, the program crashes. And they'll say, sir, why did you press X? I wanted you to press 5. I say, boss, it's my wish. Okay, your stack program should be able to say me that it should be able to take X and say that it will not work for X, rather than crashing the program. Got it? You got what I'm trying to tell you? Yes, no? Yes, no, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is called as program testing. So basically you should test those programs for various parameters, which most of them you wouldn't even thought that it could be happening. And if you go to companies and if you really find great testers, they will actually eat programmers life completely by using all these parameters. And I want you to be prepared for that. Is that okay? Okay, not okay? Okay, I want you to chat or say something else I not know. You can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so fine then. I think tomorrow we would get into the introduction to Python. Okay, so did you enjoy today's session? Did you learn something new?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is that you learned something new today? What is that you like today in today's session? And by the way, nobody gave me the solution for this problem. Can anyone give me what should happen for this problem? Okay.
First,
so,
the man should get along the goat with him.
One second, let me see. Okay, so the man will go with the. First of all, who answered this?
Vishalni, sir.
Yeah, Vishalni, can you first of all tell the problem?
first the man should get along with the goat so
No,
that
no, 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 no. The problem. Describe the problem. Then we'll go to the solution. What is the problem?
the man should get all the three to the other side of the river.
Exactly, including him. He and all the four has to get to the west side of the river. Correct? Okay. So then, what is that he'll do now? And the problem is that if the man takes, wolf first. Okay, and only the problem here is that he can only carry one item at a time.
Item.
Correct. So if he takes the wolf to the other side of the river, what happens is this goat, dirty fellow goat, will actually eat that cabbage.
Cabbage.
Right. What if he takes the wolf to the other side of the river?
Wolf.
I mean, sorry, the goat to the other part of the river.
The wolf won't eat the
Not eat
cabbage.
cabbage.
So
Correct. But next, what happens is if you actually take the cabbage to the other side of the river, then what happens? He'll have to come back, right? In that case, that time the goat would be eaten by the wolf.
Right.
Yes or no?
Yes.
You got what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
There are two sides, east and west. First time he'll take the wolf to the other side.
Okay.
Okay, or else he take or else you assume he takes the goat to the other side. Okay, first time he takes goat to the other side, but wolf will not have the cabbage. You know that fact, correct?
Yes.
Then what happens? Goat is there on the other side. Now who is remaining? Wolf is remaining or cabbage is remaining, correct? Now assume he took the wolf to the other side. If he takes wolf to the other side, what happens? And he'll have to come back to take the cabbage. When he comes back to take the cabbage, the wolf will eat the goat.
He
Yes, sir.
can take the goat back when he's going.
He's going back, is it?
One item can be taken, sir.
So while returning back.
Yeah.
Yeah, while returning back, you'll have to again carry one fellow back to the river and then carry the next thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I want you to try this out at home. Is that okay? And message in the group. Will you do that?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Will you do that? And you will have to give me the solution actually. Will you do that?
Yes.
Awesome. Hope you enjoyed the session.
Yes, Subhash.
Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow we would start off with introduction to Python and we'll start learning Python. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Is that okay? Bye. See you. Love you all so much.